Hi, guys. Welcome to the Church Split. My name is Will. You know what we do here. We have Escape Your Church's echo chamber to learn to think biblically and, of course, challenge the status quo, which always needs challenging. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Of course, check out the One Life Network, link in the description below, along with my Patreon and links to order my books, stuff like that. But that's not really what you're here for. What you're really here for is to discuss Mormonism. And guys, in my recent video regarding the Megiddo Mosaic that talks about Jesus being God, I upset some people. I know, try not to fall over. Anyone used to this channel might not be used to that sort of thing. I mean, who's to think that Will at the Church Split would upset literally anybody? I am a cute, cuddly little bear, and I try to get along with everybody. I am not disagreeable at all. No, just kidding. But I really did upset a lot of Mormons in my last video, claiming that I have no idea what I'm talking about, that I am clueless, I am ignorant, and I am spreading misinformation about Mormonism. Because in my last video, what I discussed is, well, I discussed this. I discussed that the Megiddo Mosaic kind of disproves a very popular, no historically founded argument that people run around saying. Actually, it's more like a claim than an argument. People claim that the Council of Nicea is where the divinity of Jesus was really established. This just, of course, is not true, because anyone who knows anything about history knows that people before the Council of Nicea believed that Jesus was God. So I threw in Jehovah's Witnesses in there. I threw in Muslims in there. I threw Mormons in there. And this upset the Mormons, especially because the Mormons say, but we do believe Jesus is God. So you're spreading misinformation. That right there doesn't prove anything. And if anything, it proves the corruption of Christianity over time, which of course is convenient. And that's one way to look at it. Or you can look at it the way the early church and everyone did, which is Jesus is God. Okay. Hashtag deal with it. All right. Now, however, it is never my goal to misrepresent anybody. I actually like to be intellectually honest. And even though I like to be polemical and crack jokes and, rib one another, I do not like to misrepresent people. So from the bottom of my cold, dead heart, I want you to know that I'm deeply, deeply sorry for apparently speaking the truth. Because here's actually the reality is I did not misrepresent anybody in my Mormonism discussion. Because here's the facts. When the Megiddo Mosaic calls Jesus God, and the Mormons turn around and say, but we believe Jesus is God, they actually don't. And let me explain why. Because they will claim Jesus' divinity all day long. But what they won't tell you is that they don't believe that he is Lord of Lords and the King of all kings and the God who comes before all other gods and divine beings, because they actually believe that he is the literal offspring of the Divine Father and the Holy Mother. So they actually believe he is the offspring of these other divine beings, and these divine beings all rule over apparently their own little pocket universes. And of course, that when you go to heaven, that you can actually be king of your own little pocket universe. That's what Mormonism believes. Why is the Megiddo Mosaic challenge that directly? Because you don't get to just say that you believe Jesus is God, as in God of this universe, and then co-opt and colonize what they meant in the earliest centuries. You don't get to do that. You don't get to sit here and retcon a faith that has been pretty well established. Now, it's true that there's the Arian controversy, and there's other views on how Jesus's divinity worked out and how exactly he proceeded from the Father. There's people in the early church who are probably modalists and all those things. That is true. But there is nothing that existed like Mormonism, besides maybe some weird sects of Gnosticism, which I don't even think you can find that. That's the only thing I could possibly think of off the top of my head, but I don't know that for sure. You don't get to co-opt things. This actually drives me crazy when it comes to these individuals. The historical Christian faith is, number one, historical. And number two, it has boundaries of what orthodoxy is. The Council of Nicea wasn't brought together and invented the divinity of Jesus. That's a popular level claim that is actually garbage, and everyone who knows anything knows that. However, the Council of Nicea became necessary because so many people began denying the divinity of Jesus. So they had to get together, debate things out, and then pen it on paper. Mormonism, when it says Jesus is God, does not mean the same thing as Christianity when Christianity says Jesus is God. We believe that he is the God of gods, that he stands at the right hand of the Father, if you're a Trinitarian. So No, you don't get to claim that. You don't get to co-opt it. Nothing existed like that before that. There was this Holy Mother that he came from along with the Divine Father, and that it was a literal offspring situation, and that he's the God of only this universe. That's not the same thing. You're using the same word, but a totally different dictionary. Also, I'm pretty sure Dr. Michael Heiser doesn't really appreciate people co-opting his work either and being like, well, see how Elohim is so used? Well, therefore, I can stretch this context as far as I can, as far and wide, to try to catch Jesus in there and keep my Mormonism. Mormonism has been known to be historically like a joke, because Joseph Smith's entire evidence for his revelation is, trust me, bro, because the tablets just happened to disappear. Of course, when God equipped different people with these special messages, he tended to give them evidences to declare to one another, right? Like Moses, when he was able to turn his staff into a serpent, or when the different prophets did various different miracles, like raising people from the dead, or like how he blessed the apostles to do healings and speak in tongues and all those things. Those are all ways of God declaring his revelation. But when Joseph Smith came up and his little gold tablets were given to him, well, they must have just disappeared. Yeah, okay, because that follows the pattern that we know of God. And so, no, I am not sorry that I threw Mormons in with my last video on the Megiddo Mosaic. And I actually do not apologize for misrepresenting them, because I didn't misrepresent them. That Megiddo Mosaic, when it talks about Jesus being God, it does not mean God in the Mormon sense. You will not find that sort of belief in the early church. So with all that said, I bid you all adieu, and I'll see you in the next one. So take care and God bless. And remember, it's okay to upset people once in a while, because they just like to twist words and try to colonize historical texts. And we don't want to do that. We want to respect history. We want to respect the people from before us. So we're not going to do any of that nonsense. Take care, guys. God bless.